What's going on, Pax Garage here. Today we're going to be working on this 2007 Acura TSX. We are going to be replacing spark plugs. Let's begin by opening the hood. Alright, next step is going to be grabbing a 10mm with a ratchet. We're going to be loosening these 4 bolts on top for the plastic cover, and that plastic cover is there just for looks. Alright, we're going to be unscrewing these. Oh, that one came out with the other bolt that we're going to be taking out later. And now we're going to be loosening using a 10mm with an extension. The wires and the coils are loosened up. We're going to be popping them up. As I was disconnecting the wires from the coils, unfortunately, they're all broke. Alright, we're going to be using 5/8 spark plug socket that has a magnet on the inside. These are the new spark plugs that I'm going to be putting it in. Ruthenium HX by NGK. To make the gap smaller, you just press on the top of the spark plug, which is this part right there. I found these spark plugs to be the best for this engine, as it's really good with high compression. These spark plugs will last for a long time as well. Now we're going to be checking the gap. I personally love to use spark plug gapping tool to make the gap wider. We're going to be using gap opener. The recommended gap for K24A2 0.044. These spark plugs are slightly off. Okay, next we're going to be putting these new spark plugs in. I'm using the same 5/8 socket with 2 extensions. The way that you use this tool is you slide it. Once it starts to drag, this is how you know what gap is that spark plug set to, which then you can make the gap smaller or gap bigger. Okay, these are the old spark plugs. I'm assuming is the original spark plug or a spark plug that somebody put without gap in it. Alright, this is the second spark plug from a different cylinder. Here you can see it gets stuck at 0.042, which is still slightly off. It's not a big problem if it's slightly off, but for my liking, I personally prefer it to be at exact number. Now we're going to be using torque wrench. This is the Tecton torque wrench. On the bottom there's a locking nut and a rotating handle. The rotating handle has numbers that you can adjust the foot-pounds on it. This is how you use it. You loosen the locking nut and then you rotate the handle to a desired foot-pound. This engine, this spark plug is supposed to be torqued to 13 foot-pounds. Okay, so here's a solution. I decided to take the biggest zip tie and I'm gonna jam the wiring harness to the coil so that it's snug, so it doesn't come out. And I find out to be very effective. The coils never came out. And now we're going to be putting everything back together. So we're starting with the bolts for the coils. I'm going to be tightening it just snug. No need for specifically torquing them, just so that they don't move. Then we're going to put the cover back. Start the engine. And then close the hood and we're done. Thank you guys very much for watching. Like and subscribe and share. Let me know how's your build coming along. Bye.